5-5 tonight. And he has a strip on Huff that comes free to Kamara. Up the floor to Avdija, has a step, dumps it back to Lob, two hands in. Deni sails the other way, looks at the bench.
That was awesome. That was, of course, the call of the night by Kevin Calabro and Lamar Herb. Welcome in, everybody, to the Fred Meyer post-game show. What a game that was, the final tonight. Blazers get the win, 131-111. The crowd goes wild. They were awesome tonight. So many things to discuss, Michael. Of course, Deni's return, Scoot's amazing night. Young Hansen there at the end. That was a fun moment. But overall, what is, I guess, your biggest takeaway from this one?
You know, Brooke, my biggest takeaway is I make the comment that you need to play defense with your offense. I've made that comment a lot. And tonight, the biggest storyline is the Blazers play defense with their offense. In other words, the floor was balanced. They made shots. They made their free throws. They made the Pacers play out of the net. And that allowed the Blazers to set their defense and get a couple of shot clock violations. Let's take a look. The Blazers defense, once set and physical, was able to pressure the basketball, make the Pacers work against a short clock, and then come up with a stop, and that was a shot clock violation. Coaches always talk about you need to make multiple efforts on defense to get a stop. Well, in order to do that, Brooke, you got to get your defense set. You got to get the ball pressure set, Scoots pressuring them hard, and now the table is set. The defensive pressure, you can play practice or training camp defense at this point. And the Blazers showed you through 3 quarters how good they can be when their defense gets set. This is another shot clock violation.
Wow.
That's just outstanding defense, Brooke.
I mean, we will talk a lot about Scoot on this post-game show for sure, but we also need to talk about his defense. He was all over the place. He was getting in people tonight.
He was hungry.
Yeah.
Or, I guess, thirsty, as they say nowadays, right? Scoot Henderson came ready to play, and he got it done on both ends of the floor.
You can be both.
You can be hungry and thirsty.
Yeah, I am all the time.
That's what Scoot was. That's what it looked like.
All right. Like I said, we will get to Scoot. Much to talk about there. But Deni Avdija, in his first game back, what did you think of his performance tonight?
No, I thought Deni was Deni, in terms of the physicality, driving the basketball, initiating contact, taking contact, playing through contact. And then he started to get kind of a skip in his step. He started bringing the basketball up with that turbo gear or that gallop. So I saw everything that I had hoped for to see from Deni Avdija tonight.
Yeah, he took a spill there, and it made me a little nervous, but he was looking good. He was very much in shape, very much going at people. So I felt good after that. I was okay.
There was nothing fragile about his performance tonight, Brooks. Deni Avdija was ready, and he played hard. And I think it was the first possession or maybe the second where a lot of things happened that involved him. And I saw him trying to catch his breath. And I just identify with that blowtorch in your chest when you haven't played in a while. And then you could tell when he settled in. He took a deep breath. And from there, he was just Deni.
And those 8 assists as well. He's been doing such a good job of looking for his shot. Of course, he likes to go downhill, but if it's not there, finding his teammates.
Yeah. And in transition, what about the over the shoulder to Rob Williams for the dunk? Come on, Brooke.
Sick.
Don't sleep on the sweetness of how he distributed the orange.
I will not. Not sleeping on that. That was spectacular. All right. I cannot wait to hear what Tiago Splitter has to say about this 131-111 win. Let's go ahead and head downstairs to hear from him.
So before the game, you were talking about how Scoot needs to play better just across the board. You had to have liked what you saw tonight from him.
Yeah, I think great. Bounce back from him, just being aggressive. Overall, I think he has 6 assists, 0 turnovers. Help us to get the guys together, push the pace. Made shots, drove strong to the basket, so confidence was there. So great for him. Good to see him, playing better tonight. I think it's just those days that we are down. You gotta find a way to get up and perform.
What was your guys' message to him behind the scenes over the last few days?
Just to control the things that you can control. To play hard, to push the pace. Shots is so hard to control. It's impossible. So just be confident there that you put in the work and let it fly.
What was he doing differently, do you think, that led to such a big turnaround?
I don't know. Sometimes it's just a spark at the beginning of the game that he feels better. He's feeling confident, and he just go from there, honestly.
What changed for you guys in the second quarter? It was pretty close to the first quarter. Both teams kind of switching the lead back and forth.
Yeah, I think that group that finished the second quarter won us the game with the energy, switching and being up. Rob was a big part of it, just switching everything because they were trying to get advantage with the pick and pops, with everybody shooting threes and spreading the court. And I think Rob did a great job there, just being him and winning the game for us.
How do you think Deni looked?
Great. I think it's the first time, since he was healthy that he was not scared to attack the rim. He played with force, getting those N1s, getting to the paint, going left, going right, feeling himself again. So good to see him, progressing there.
Do you have any comment on that highlight at the end where Blake broke some ankles and handed it off to Hansen?
No, just, Blake is one of those guys that's super fast, hard to stay in front of him, and glad that he got a great play there and a finish by Henderson.
He seemed to really enjoy it, too.
Yeah, Blake is one of the most charismatic guys in the locker room, and everybody loves him and just his energy, the way he is, and just good to see him, enjoying and have a good time out there.
Great. Thank you all.
Thank you, Tiago.
That was a very fun moment tonight there. So what did you take away from what Tiago had to say, Michael?
I just thought he was transparent about Scoot in particular, saying that, he didn't have a good road trip. We said he needed to play better. But I like how he communicated that. It wasn't disciplinary. It wasn't disappointment. Right. And then I like the follow-up question, like, how did you handle that behind the scenes? And Tiago said, we just told him to focus on the things that he controls. And so saying that he played with confidence is humble for Tiago because they put him in a position to play with confidence.
Yeah, in our walk-off interview, I said to Scoot that you always tell me you trust in your shot no matter what, if you're, in a great rhythm or not. And that really came into play tonight. He said, you have to trust in your shot.
Yeah. And so what I saw from how he played was he played with force. He didn't make mistakes, but he read the defense. He didn't dribble into crowds, and that's why he had 0 turnovers. Mm-hmm. And so we saw what all Scoot is capable of when he has proper spacing.
Yeah, he said he was really proud of that. No turnovers. Very impressive.
Oh, no. That's something you call home about. Mom, I didn't turn it over.
That is so funny and true. Time now for our Golden Shopping Cart presented by Fred Meyer. Guess who? It has to be Scoot Henderson. An all-around, just an impressive game looking at those numbers. Efficient, too, as well, Michael.
No, he gave him the business. The season high plus 26 on the plus minus. I'm not a huge fan of the plus minus stat, but I thought tonight it told the story of how well he played and how impactful his play was to the bottom line of a big win. Scoot Henderson, 10 for 15 from the floor. And then, okay, let's dance. I don't know what they call it these days, Brooke, but they were celebrating.
I don't either. Taking a look at his numbers. By the way, I have to mention something about that. That really shows how happy his teammates were for him to kind of have this type of performance.
No, and it is important and it is reflective and indicative of the type of locker room that this team has. I look at those numbers and I go, okay, wow. Impressive numbers, 6 assists, no turnovers. But he played with force. And we say that, but we also have the opportunity, Brooke, because we got outstanding people downstairs to also show you the force that he played with. Now, he's attacking the defender. The one defender back, he flattens the defense. And when the defense gets flattened and it comes back out, he can take that 3. But he's unselfish and he's got his eyes on who has a better shot. That's the maturity of Scoot Henderson. He didn't put his head down to break his guy down. And then now, the ball goes to Scoot, and Scoot is still looking at what's possible, what's available. I'm not trying to just beat my guy. I'm going to attack the low, weak side defender, and the rest is entertainment. If you have the ability to hit record, you might want to see this more than once. And then the last play we're going to show you is what's called a double away, an away screen action in transition. 2 screens come to get Scoot. Usually, this is for you to get your shot. Scoot has the opportunity to come right into the living room of the Pacers and shoot the basketball, and that's just what he does. He dunks it. Scoot Henderson was on display
making it look easy as well. And look at this right here. This is incredible. This year so far, you can see 28 points off the bench, second most for a Blazer. That's wild. To be able to be ready to go, come off the bench and be that productive is very impressive.
No, and bench play is going to be important here down the stretch. I think 17 regular season games to go. Rob Williams III had a plus minus of 30 off the bench, and Scoot had a plus minus of 26.
Very incredible. Good memory. All right. When we come back, Tom Haberstroh is going to join the show. We got to talk about this big win tonight. It was fantastic. Everybody getting involved. Look at that. Oh, that was my favorite dunk.
Oh, that's a high school chin up. Presidential Fitness Award.
All right, guys, your Trailblazers cannot be overlooked. All season long, it's been heart, hustle, and defense. Now the games are bigger. The stakes are higher. The postseason push is on. Be here. Rip City, stand up. Visit trailblazers.com/stand up and get your tickets today.
Thinking we'll take it. Scoop over here to Grant. A three is up and in from Jerami Grant. He looks down court. In stride. V crazy. Nice bounce pass to the big man. Most of it. Nice cut. Scoop. Rob Williams. They load up on him for some reason and scoop to the baseline for the dunk.
All right, time now for the photo of the night. Thanks to Bruce Ely. Bruce Ely, very much a main character in tonight's broadcast, as it should be. That's very nice. We also saw the one of Scoot Henderson right before he flew into his lap as well. So thank you, Bruce. Hope you're doing okay, bud. Hope you're doing all right. All right, let's go ahead and bring in Tom Haberstroh. Tom, all we can do is talk about Scoot Henderson. Everyone's so happy for him and his performance tonight. What do you think?
It was awesome, and a great post-game interview by you, Brooke. It was awesome to see how happy he was in the performance. He should be really happy with that performance. I would say this is up there with one of the best games he's ever had in the NBA, and the mostly in particular is that turnover calm with Jrue. He basically threw a perfect game in this one, 28 points, 6 assists, those 6 assists going for 13 points, which means he contributed 41 points. And I got to bring up this stat here. Most games in NBA history, at least since 1982, with at least 25 points, at least 5 assists, with 0 turnovers. He pulled a Damian Lillard, the first Damian Lillard of his career. Because the reason why I'm calling it the Damian Lillard is because Damian Lillard has done this more than any other player in NBA history, at least in the last 50 years since they've been counting that turnover stat on a national scale. So when we see Scoot Henderson doing this, both ends of the floor, getting the steal, going the other way, throwing lobs. He had so many passes for dunks in this game, just getting high efficient looks for his teammates. I know that Damian Lillard's super proud to see Scoot do this and how excited he is to play with Scoot, because this is a game that reminded me a lot from the statistical standpoint of Damian Lillard. Low mistake game, setting up his teammates, hitting threes. He shot 3 of 7 from downtown, also getting to the line for 6 free throw attempts. It was just a marvelous game. And coming off a rough stretch in his career, it was fantastic to see this effort from Scoot Henderson on a night coming off the bench and realizing, okay, I just got to stick to my game. The confidence was there. The performance was there. And I also love to see the joy was there too. So guys, this is a game that we will remember for a long time, and I just thought it was very cool that we got Damian Lillard at the top of that leaderboard there.
You know, Tom, there were a couple of things that I wanted to also add to that. Scoot had been starting before Deni came back, and then he came off the bench. So that's another thing that can be in a player's head that can affect their level of focus and how they play. But when I looked at how Scoot played in this game, 2 words I wrote down on the paper that I want to ask you. Which one contributed more to his success, or was it a 50-50 ball? Pace or patience? Because I thought the team got to playing with pace and he had his head up and he was able to make plays at high speeds. But I thought when the defense was set, he also showed the type of patience to make sure that there was proper spacing to perform.
I love the pace that he played. He was very assertive in this one. He didn't have any sort of hesitation. It seemed like he knew exactly what he wanted to do with the ball. And he was setting up his teammates, the lobs, the one in particular where he got Rob Williams III on a lob early in this game. It just seemed like he was just on another wavelength. A lot of confidence in his game. Sometimes, when you have a young point guard who's trying to size up the defense and pulling it back out, trying to dribble his way through the defense, it really didn't seem like Scoot was doing that much in this game, using a lot of dribbles to get to different places. It seemed like he was getting places much quicker with that pace, getting downhill.